Okay, everybody, welcome back to Flip the Script. Dr. J. Joey here with my good buddy Cam, if you will. And we're going to talk some nutrition today. I think you were mentioning you wanted to talk a little bit about this epidemic of acid reflux occurring in our country.
Yeah,
these
you told me
days.
something very surprising one time, and I think it was that like antacids don't actually. What was that? It doesn't reduce. You actually want acid in there. You don't want to clear it out.
Right.
What exactly was that?
It's actually the wrong biochemistry, right?
Okay.
So the stomach is designed by your creator to do one thing: make acid, right? Hydrochloric acid. So where did man come along somewhere in the last 40, 50 years and say, hey, God, or whoever your higher power is, we got it from here. We're just going to stop that physiological component. And so it doesn't make sense. And this is the way the body works. So I really get chapped when it comes to that, because I'm like, no, you ain't doing that, right? This is the way it works. You actually, most of these have become too alkaline, which means there's not enough acid in the stomach functioning properly. Or in some cases, they may get to where they hypersecrete too much. But it's the physiology of the nervous system and the stomach itself that needs to be corrected. So the wrong treatment for that is just to shut down that organ's function altogether. Now, what makes sense about that, right? So again, we're looking at people, common sense approach.
Why does it relieve symptoms then? You know, because you have somebody that they basically live with the body. I mean, I've known people, they just, a bottle of Tums on their nightstand is normal.
Yeah.
I know a guy before soccer, he takes Tums. I think he's on my team. I can't remember which teammate it is, but Tums before every game.
Yeah. Well, again, when we think about the mechanism of how this whole thing occurs, right, we don't have enough acid really into the stomach to function the way it should. So whenever you bring in food into that, think of it as a reservoir that sits outside of the body, okay? Because really what we start assimilating all this stuff is when we get into the small intestine and then on from there. So if we don't have enough in this reservoir, if it's not adequately full of that substance by which helps to break down the contents that are in it, as well as bacteria and other things that we don't want into the small intestine, into the body. So that their job is basically as a defense mechanism. As our diet, especially our processed food, alcohol, caffeine, and stuff like this, tends to erode away at this stomach acid, especially the phosphoric acid and substances like, our sodas, right? So the environment is just basically messing up this whole reservoir in the first place. So now we take in food, and these processed carbohydrates, they break down so quickly, and the body will not actually empty that stomach until all the contents are broken down adequately. So the protein takes a while to break down due to insufficient enzymes. So we wind up with this gas building up from that carbohydrate. And it's that gas that creates the pressure, and it's the gas that gives us the irritation. And now we're trying to take something to relieve that symptom, which is actually making long-term the condition worse. So when we look at something like these protein pump inhibitors, the purple pill and such, we're actually shutting down that mechanism. Because if we're deficient in the acid, sometimes the stomach will actually secrete too much at undesirable times, and that will give us that symptom of the burning sensation. So then we take this product to shut that down, but we're making this medium that should be acidic now totally alkaline, which is why when you start taking these medications and you shut the body's natural physiology down, you can't stop them. So they have you, if you try to stop that, as I write in the book, you'll get acid rebound, which a lot of people won't go through that. So they got you hooked 40 years ago, if you had a problem and you went to your general practitioner and you had an acid reflux problem, he might put you on something like that and tell you, here's a 2-week prescription, now fix your problem. Because this, again, is like 80% of all our issues in this country is a metabolic problem. I mean, you ate metabolism. You ate your way there. Correct that problem. And, of course, back in, again, let's go back 60, 100 years ago. If you brought food home, you ate it, or else it spoiled because it had enzymes in it. And therefore, it was easier for the body to break it down. Well, now with all these processed foods, we no longer have these enzymes in the food. That's like bread, for example. Bread, you used to have, it had the nutrients in the bread, but of course it went rancid in a few days, so you had to consume it. Well, now so many of these products are in boxes and bags, they sit on the shelf forever. So there's no enzymes in there. So if you're not taking some form of an enzyme, then it's too much stress on the body. And this is why we also get sugar imbalancing problems too, because the pancreatic enzymes are now trying to do the job of the stomach's enzymes. So it gets overloaded. So see how this kind of manifests. So when we're looking at the problem of acid reflux, we're really too alkaline and not acidic enough. That's why, again, our grandmothers used to take something like apple cider vinegar to calm the symptoms, or before they eat, they would consume a little apple cider vinegar to increase the acidity within the stomach so they didn't have the irritation from the food due to the lack of the enzymes that they were developing, right? And so, again, this is common sense. And I like to say, don't let your grandmother outwit you now. You hear? So think about how it works, fix the problem. And of course, I have a wonderful product that I use, which is digestive enzymes with the hydrochloric acid in a tablet. So it's so simple just to take this in the beginning with each meal. And then you increase the dose slightly because we're increasing the HCl that the stomach is now able to release. So we're fixing the problem, so we're not just simply treating the symptom. Because the other sad part about that is, if you think about it, the stomach has to have that acid in there to break down the minerals. So when we look at these protein pump inhibitors that stop this, the side effects can be very ugly. One of the most common I find is restless leg syndrome. So you're taking this product here that the doctor puts you on, and now you got these legs that's kicking around like a fish out of water in bed. All right, your spouse won't even sleep with you. So either you're on the couch, she's on the couch, because of a condition that was developed from, again, another medication. Now, what about calcium? Well, we know how important that is. And all these minerals are for bone health, not just calcium, but the rest of them. So you see how this can cascade down to another issue that we don't correlate due to the fact because we stopped that one thing that God made your stomach to do, in which is make acid. So fix that problem. It's a physiological problem. That's why that and cholesterol for me are two major physiological issues that, again, we learned this in school, Cameron. Your biochemistry is going to teach you this. The physiology classes that we take. Listen, the gastroenterologist took the same course as I did. Now, I don't know if they fell and hit their head and got amnesia along the way, but scientifically, this is not how the body works, people. So why are we prescribing something that is actually down the road from here is going to wreak havoc throughout the body, right? Again, anemia. If you can't break down minerals, how are you going to break down iron, right? You follow me? So again, let's look at the common sense of that. And that's why I get kind of passionate about this one, because this one is an easy fix, but so many people are so far down the road with it that for a lot of them, they don't think there's a turning back period. And there is. It is totally reversible. Again, because, like I say, it's a metabolic issue, right? So I speak about that one in Light Your Fire passionately. And it's a simple guide to longevity and vitality. You've got to start with the gut. Another good thing, most everything that we actually die from down the road is going to be an infection. And in order to manifest into an infection, there has to be an infestation. Where's that infestation going to occur? either through the skin or through the gut, right? So we got to have that acid in there. That's health. But we're seeing it early and early, right? And the same thing, the complication with these are hiatal hernias. And I started, when I was in practice, I would push one of those in every couple of weeks. And now it's not uncommon for me to push in 3 or 4 in a day, and even on teenagers already. So yeah.
What about stomach ulcers? Is that same thing as acid reflux?
If they get bad enough, you're going to wind up with that into the esophagus. This acid's spitting up in there and causes the damage.
So what, I remember in high school, there was a period that I was just super stressed out, and I was getting stomach ulcers. Never dealt with it other than that, except high stress.
Stress, yes. And then again, here's an issue where that's what cortisol can do to the body, right? Pro-inflammatory. And again, if we don't have enough of the protective, well, of course, stress is everywhere. Again, who doesn't have this, right?
That's crazy to think that the stress can cause an actual symptom like that.
Psychological. Anytime and there's always a connection between physiological reactions in the body and the chemicals associated with it, with the psychological component there. And doctors have to look at both of those if they're really going to heal the body, because that correlation is there. It's like I write in the book, man, it's not a case of don't show me somebody stressed, show me somebody who isn't stressed, because then it's a lot easier because everybody is, right? So it's how you handle that. And then if you do, you need, so certain things when you consume them, spicy things, and that's where would you really want to be taking something like an Advil or an aspirin? No, all right, causing more damage. So I find one of the mechanisms to help cure that and certainly relieve those symptoms is products that contain chlorophyll. So that put the fire out quickly, and actually it's magnificent for the healing process of ulcers. So again,
I wish I'd known about that back then.
Well, don't we all?
Yeah,
I know. And the knowledge is out there, but you got to search for it, because that's not going on television, because that's not where the people with the power are getting the messages to you, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to search, you got to find it.
So what's I know you have an actual adjustment for acid reflux.
For the hiatal hernia.
Oh, that's the hiatal hernia. But you had someone, okay, that's what it was. You had somebody one time that was having, if I'm remembering correctly, had bad acid reflux.
Right.
And you adjusted that, and it...
Well, the vagus nerve's always involved.
Okay.
All right. And so this vagus nerve, longest in the body, right? So you always have to make sure that there's no irritation and there's proper function along the pathway of that nerve, so that its physiological response is also functioning at 100%. So usually I'm looking in the area of the mid-thoracic spine for what we call segmental dysfunction, to restore that, and also definitely in the area of the neck and the cervical spine, because that nerve has to be functioning properly, or else everything that it functions is going to function less than 100% if that nerve flow is not functioning 100%. So, but again, that's the aspect where the body needs to have that power to heal itself. But sometimes we have to go in and reverse some of the damage that's already done. And of course, the key thing with that is to make sure we get the stomach pH corrected, so that it's, again, doing what it's supposed to do. Therefore, we eliminate the problem going forward, right? And it's totally doable in a very short period of time. And then slowly, if we have the patient on medication, we'll slowly work at trying to get that out of their life. Some people, fortunately, can just almost cold turkey it, but I find that for those who can, it's still totally reversible. It just takes a little time. But first, give them the knowledge so it makes sense, right? Okay? Then you empower them. Then it's easier for people to stay on and program. It's like anything else. Don't take this because I told you so. Take this, study, read this book, understand why. Read the studies that are out there. Understand how the body works. If we just understood a little bit more, which most doctors will dumb you down, just do what I say. And I always get over this. Ask the question why.
Well, sometimes
right. Ask the question
get a little
why.
offended if you ask why, and it's
Well,
like that's the difference. It's
time
like
to find
when
a
someone
new
asks you,
doctor.
right.
Yes,
It's
right.
like that's the difference. When
Yes.
somebody asks you, your eyes light up. Oh, I'm glad you asked. You know, with them, they're like, oh, it's just some boilerplate.
Well, you know what
whatever.
it is? It's called nutrition, and most do not have any education in that, are so little that it's not really their forte. So we're uncomfortable when we're not there. So, you know, if you ask that question and you ask something that might be nutrition related, if you see them reaching for the door handle, or they got 1 foot in the threshold on the way out, that's okay. Don't hold it against them. It's not in their. It's not in their wheelhouse. It's not in their gray matter. They haven't been educated for it, so you don't really want them giving you an opinion that they really don't have, and that's understandable. It's okay. Find somebody who does. And search. You know, 4-year-olds ask questions, right? I love it. They ask questions. Well, why? If you just say, because I told you so, well, good luck. They're probably going to do whatever you asked them not to do anyway, right? Give them, empower them. And then when at 4 years old, it makes sense to them, right? So it's the same thing with your doctor. Hey, you know, if the patient asks you why, have an answer. Okay? Because it really does kind of dumb you down when you don't. So, and they deserve it, right? Remember, your doctor's working for you. It's your hire, not theirs. Okay? It's not your mama. It's not your daddy. All right? So there's always another one. So interview them, because it is your health in the long run, right? It's your body. It's your future. So make sure that their resume is up to date and they fit that, whatever that image is that you want them.
Just change the topic sort of, but does milk actually help acid reflux, or is it just one of those things where people say it and then they think it does, and it's like it gives them this 10 seconds of feel good? Or
you know, you put something cool in the body. I mean, look,
because you know that's like everybody
anything
says,
can do anything. There's a saying I learned from an old mentor of mine. Now, physiologically, can I explain to you how and why? Well, there again, look, what are we doing again? We're adding milk, so we got this calcium, very poor source of calcium, right? So I'm bringing in more alkalinity. Well, if you think about it, your Tums and your Rolaids, that's what they are. One's calcium, right? But it's a calcium carbonate, which is like a rock. You might as well lick the sidewalk, but that's what they put in there, right? So that stomach requires so much acid to break that calcium carbonate down, this in Tums, that even though you're getting some relief because you're increasing the alkalinity a little bit, you are making a worse problem because it takes so much acid to utilize to break that tablet down, right? So then the other one, Rolaids, uses magnesium, but they use magnesium oxide. Again, a non-absorbable form of a mineral. Very hard for it to break down. So you're actually taking this, getting some symptomatic relief while you're making it worse. So there's your answer to milk. Yeah, you might get a temporary relief because you brought the alkalinity up a little bit and probably kind of soothed the fire a little bit with the coolness of that milk. But other than that, healing? No. Possibly making it worse? The way I just broke that down, I would say probably not a good thing. So, and remember too, by the time you pasteurize milk, basically, I hate to say it, but you have what somebody termed once, cow pus. So it's really not functional for anything. The calcium utilization there is useless, basically. Now, raw milk, we're dealing with a totally different thing. That has some nutritional benefits to it. But once you pasteurize it, you cooked everything out of it that's good, right? Including the vitamin C and all the other things to help that to function for the body. Yeah.
I saw something where there's a company that they were trying to bring back milkmen. I don't know if it's going to work, but they were trying to do that, and they were doing it because of the benefits of raw milk. They were like, we want to try.
Yeah, but you can't bring raw milk anywhere, right? Now, when you have countries where they do, you have a whole lot of benefits associated with the calcium and the other minerals that are in there. But once you cook that over 100 degrees, where you have to for pasteurization, which in most areas in this country, you can't sell it. Now you can some places in Colorado, some places in Pennsylvania and stuff like this. They might be getting by with some of the Amish and stuff. Or if you can find somebody who has some goats, go get you some goat milk, right? Because that's actually closer to the protein-related issue than what the breast milk is, right? Cow's milk is like, first of all, the casein causes most of us irritation. Where all of us are lactose intolerant, whether we know it or not, right?
Interesting.
That gas that you just got and that you just relieved was probably due to that milk that you didn't. That was your sensitivity to it. But of course, goat's milk is closer to that by which the human baby is used to protein-wise. So it's a lot easier for them to. And of course, the casein protein in there is much more digestible for us. So, but again, most people don't have availability to the farmer's goat next door like they did 100 years ago, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, it's completely different.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a nice thought, but they don't allow that.
I mean, it's changed so much. Just the
corporate food America is not allowing that anymore.
Oh, it's rough. I mean, we should make a little video of us walking through just an aisle at any market, at any grocery store, and just look and just grab anything and read it. I mean, it's wild.
But look on the bright side. Kennedy's coming in, right? Okay.
Yeah,
make
that'll
America
be a whole
healthy again. Which, by the way, we are sponsors of, faithful followers of, and if there's anything we can do to help that movement, give us a call because we're all about it.
Yeah, I mean,
excellent.
That'll have to be a whole
Senator
episode.
Kennedy. Wow, I did. All right.
That may be our next episode.
Well, we'll be covering quite a bit of that because
Talking about
it's moving forward, and hopefully now again, there's going to be a lot of powers that be that are going to try to keep that movement down. But it's time. It's way past time. It's 50 years plus past time. Okay, so much of this stuff, just if you're at my age, you're old enough that when you grew up as a teenager, a lot of these things just didn't exist. Yeah, I'm sad for you, and I'm sad for my daughter, my 19-year-old, and now my 4-year-old. It's just, yes, we took it for granted, but everybody pretty much in the late 70s and the early 80s, there was not a weight problem. Everybody ran around shorts, and everybody was fit. Nobody dieted, right? And we didn't have the 80% of the healthcare-related issues that we do since that food pyramid came out, which is another great topic for another day, which was 1985, I believe. That's kind of when all it hit the fan, and we've been backpedaling ever since. So like I said, let's go back 50 years in time, or at least undo this mess that we've been misinformation and disinformation our whole life to what constitutes health. Right? It's not that difficult. Some of us were actually part of that. I remember when I was in high school and junior high school, the overweight kids, I could tell you who they were today. They were there, but they were few and far between, and a lot of times there could have been a hormonal related issue with that. So they weren't. We didn't pick on them in my school. But today it's a different world. Thin's no longer in, right? Like I write, in the late 70s, a 200-pound man was a big man in the room. Now 200-pounders are everywhere, and most of them 5'2", and with without male chromosomes. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well. Yeah, if we get into that, we'll end up running a 2-hour.
Well, which is true. So, So that was acid reflux for you. I mean, man, I could go on. So you opened up a big one there for me. So actually, though, it's another one of those things that's reversible. Find yourself digestive enzymes. That's the key one. And, of course, find some kind of supplement. With the hydrochloric acid, you got to bring up the acidity. A lot of my people just like that apple cider vinegar. They'll do a little shot of that before they eat, and that helps. But you want to correct the problem, and it's correctable, okay. But the longer you stay on those protein pump inhibitors, the longer the reversal tends to take. So find your answer. Those were only meant temporarily when they first came out. We got a minute to tell a story.
Yeah, we got 4.5 minutes.
So I had a patient of mine. She came in to my clinic with the acid reflux issue. She was sent to me for that, and she had the hiatal hernia as well. So, we pushed the hiatal hernia back in, and I started her on the protocol for correcting her acid reflux and her problem. And as I was talking to her, she told me her husband was sitting out in the waiting room and that he was a retired pharmacist. And I remember this well because his name was the same as mine, Joe. So I took the opportunity and I went out there to explain to Joe what I was working on with his wife and the protocol that I was going to be putting her on. And he said, he said, that's interesting. He said, about 30 years ago, a physician brought him a prescription that he wanted him to compound for him. And basically it was what is known today as the purple pill. It was a protein pump inhibitor. And Joe asked him, he said, well, okay. He said, what do we got here? And the doctor, I remember this very, very well. He said, oh, don't worry about it. It's not going to last. Yeah. And that was, like I said, about 30 years ago. And now you're looking at probably one of the top medications out there, right? So this doctor's opinion was, I want to try this, but I'm not going to put this patient on it long term. I just want to see the reaction. And somewhere, boom, it became right there in the top 3 selling medications in our country. Yeah.
Ain't that wild?
So, isn't it? Somebody got a hold of it, found something that works, and said, wait a minute. And on top of this, you're on it long enough, you just can't stop it. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's sad that it's that way out there, but hey, that's why you got to, you have to educate yourself, take care of yourself. Yeah. Find your doctors who feel that way. And there's a lot of them. There's a change coming out there. Doctors who walk the walk, talk the talk. And you can usually tell by looking at them, right? And they have the passion for it. But you do have to go searching for it. Sadly, you do. You can look for alternative healthcare practitioners online. I always like to say, find you somebody who is a standard process physician who uses that product. That's a really good place to get started. And they're throughout the country. Their knowledge is usually above board. And you're looking at a product that is organic. And I've been using it for 20-something years, and the results are next to phenomenon. So, it's doable. But people, you have to be wanting to make the change. Because, sadly, they're making it too easy for you just to get ill. Right? Yep. So, what else you want?
I think that about covers it.
Well,
Yeah. 29.
Oh, how we could jump into, we just opened up the whole bag of nutrition on that one. But, okay, so we'll save the rest of that.
Yeah,
Let's get into some other stuff later. I know that took up a good bit of time, but hey, this is a major problem that's so fixable, right? And when you do, the energy will start coming back to you through the roof. Muscle strength, no more cramps at night, especially at bed. When you go to bed at night, cramping at night, okay, there's a sign. We have a mineral deficiency. Look to the correction of the stomach acid there. It goes on and on and on when you fix the stomach, right? That's what it's designed to do. And again, man doesn't get to come along after the last 40 years and say, we got it from here. No, you don't. All right, this is the way the stomach worked before you were here, and this is the way the stomach will work long after these scientists are gone. Okay? Don't mess with my physiology. All right? Don't mess with it. I'm telling you now. Don't mess with my physiology. It's how it works since the beginning of time. Simple stuff. So, again, hey, everyone, thanks for spending time with us. Hope you found something out of this that was entertaining, that you can use. And again, as always, man, opine to us. Drop us a line. Ask us a question. If you got something you'd like for us to cover, please do. Well, Cam, we got to get those numbers out for people where they can contact as well.
Yeah, we'll put it in the. It'll
Yeah,
be with our
yeah.
profile attached to it, and they can get that going.
Flip the script. We're working on it, and we're having fun. So until next time, as always, have yourself a great day. If not, you're missing one.